let's just connect in first. So if everybody will just start breathing into their heart space. And let's kind of breathe as deeply as we can right into the heart. And if you can do from 360 degrees, so a big sphere around you, you're breathing into the heart space and then exhaling back out 360 degrees. Here we go. Let's breathe in 360 degrees again, right through the heart space. And let's exhale back out 360 degrees. And this time, let's see if you can bring that 360 degree sphere from as far out as you can get it to go. Really see that sphere just vast around you. And we're going to pull all the different aspects of you through that vastness right into the heart space on that inhale. And then we're going to exhale it back out as far as it'll go. Okay, before we even get started here, we're just going to make a couple little adjustments. So there's a little bit of, I'm going to say, a variance between the throat, the solar plexus, and the heart. So this time when we inhale, right, we're going to inhale from 360 degrees. I want you to use the throat and the heart almost like a support system. I mean, the throat and the solar plexus, like a support system to the heart, like a balancing effect. So when you pull that energy into the heart, I want you to really feel it come down through the throat and up through the solar plexus. So just 360 degrees. Make sure it touches the throat and touches the solar plexus before it gets into the heart. Compress it all the way in. And then exhale it all the way back out. Yeah. So we're going to do this one more time here. Inhaling from as far out as you can, 360 degrees. Inhaling it all the way in, and as you come closer to that heart space, you're taking it through the throat, through the solar plexus, right into the heart. And we'll exhale it back out 360 degrees. There we go. You just really want to include your voice and your power as you move forward. Yep. There we go. Okay. All right. And then when you're ready, we can just open our eyes. Yeah. Yeah, that voice and that power center in this next month, you know, we want both. We want both to be able to support that heart space, no matter what the heart's feeling, whether it's feeling comfortable and relaxed and open, or it's feeling tense and agitated and confused. We still want that throat and that solar plexus to be there to support it. Yeah. So, okay, cool. All right, Miss Sharon, do you have any questions for me?
I do. It says, I have a creative vision which is daunting, way beyond my comfort zone, yet my heart tells me it is possible. I have asked for guidance about this, knowing that within the totality, I have the answers within. But often I get frustrated when things don't feel clear and fear and doubt can arise. I assume these and any negative rumination block guidance. Can you give any advice on how to remain in a place of trust in walking into the unknown territory?
Yeah. I want to hit a couple different points here. The first point I want to hit is Where in the past we like asked for guidance, like from outside, even if we were just asking source or the universe or whatever you want to call the bigger picture for direction. And then it would kind of show up. For me, it was I would ask the collective consciousness of the kids. They would say, do this, I would do it, and it would work out really well. And then, ask again, and it would just kind of keep going. That doesn't happen anymore. It's not just for me, it's across the board because we're in this place where we're owning our own sovereignty now. So, whatever that big, beautiful vision is that you have or that we each have right now, um, what I would really suggest is that we just start walking towards it. We start, we're always going to have stress around something that is new. We're always going to be a little anxious to put something out in the world that we've not put out, and especially if the vision is very big. But just start walking toward it. Like, just take the first step. And as you take the first step, you'll know right then if it's just aligned with the biggest part of you, because something will open up. And then the next step, you take the next step, and another part will open up. So whereas before we might have gotten the path laid out in front of us, or at least that's the way it used to happen for me, it's not that way anymore. At least that's not the way I'm experiencing it. It's just step by step, pattern by, it's like we're opening to the next piece of the puzzle over and over. But what I do want to say too is you would not have the desire and the vision if it wasn't something that you were meant to be walking toward, right? I think sometimes we get hung up on it's going to look like this and it's going to be like that, and that's not usually the case right now. We get the vision and we start walking toward it, and then we also allow ourselves to be altered, evolved as we move through the process. It's a co-creative process. Yeah. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah. Yeah. Big visions. I'm like, yeah. The more we play with them too, and just all we have to do is take a step, move in that direction. And if it's not exactly the right one, we get like you hit a wall, something happens, just see where things keep opening. Yeah. So cool.
All right, next question. How can I reconcile the guilt and shame I feel for not having something in my life? For example, the feeling that I'm doing something wrong, I'm bad, and I'm a failure for not having a beautiful home sanctuary yet. I feel so much shame, and I don't have this externalized source of safety and security. Instead, live in overwhelming fear without a beautiful dream home in my heart. Oh, and my heart longs for and believes that I believe I was worthy enough, I would have it, but I don't. So not only am I not worthy, but I'm not good enough to pull myself out of that unworthiness. It's a cycle.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is a cycle. So let's look at it this way, or let's go at it from this angle. Number one, when any shame or guilt about anything, not having this, not having that, not being enough, whatever those things are, every single time it comes up, please simply just watch it, just witness it. It has nothing to do with reality. We can't tell the mind that. If we start trying to engage the mind and get into a bunch of dialogue around why we should feel this way or should feel that way, we just loop ourselves right back in to the shame and guilt. So when that kind of energy just arises again, you're just going to observe it. You're just going to notice that it's there. Yep, that's it. And we're going to make it so simple that if we're just noticing that it's there, we're just willing to be with it. right? We're willing to be present to that energy. We're not trying to stop it. We're not trying to change it. We're not asking for anything else other than to just be present to it. A lot of times, the shame and guilt energy starts to subside because shame and guilt is only there in the first place because there was some feeling that we initially had early on in our lives that didn't get met, right? Maybe we asked for something as a child, or and that wasn't given to us, or we didn't feel worthy early on. So again, it's just an energy. Shame and guilt are just energies, just like any other energy. But it's just an indication that just something hasn't been met. So let's meet it, right? First. And then when we get into this pattern of this idea that we should have something that we don't have right now, and I practice this one quite a bit, so because I'm always like notorious for like, okay, this is what I want next. This is how I want to experience my life next, and of course, it never comes quite as quickly as we would like it to. So the moment that we go into this place of, I want this to happen in the future, or this is the way I perceive that it should be, again, we kind of, what's happening here is you're kind of going between either the past or the future, right? So we want to stay present with right here in the moment. So when guilt and shame come up, we're there with it. When the desire to be somewhere where we are not is present, we want to go right there and just be right with it. So again, I know like when I'm thinking about moving right now too. And so I'm thinking about my next house, and I'm thinking about how that feels and what that would offer me, and in the way in which it would support me. If I stay right in the creation energy of it, it feels pretty good, right? If I go to, it's not here yet, where is it? Maybe it's never going to happen. Maybe I'm unworthy. If I go into all of that story, then I feel discombobulated. I feel pulled right out of my center. So again, as soon as that energy shows up, we're just going to bring it right back to the moment. What's it bringing up? I'm a little bit scared. I'm a little bit anxious. I'm a little bit angry, or I'm back in shame and guilt. Again, let's just bring it right back into the moment, and let's not try to fix it. Let's just be willing to be with it. Yeah. So, if you're just noticing, witnessing, what do those thoughts do to your body? Right? What does that energy that's coming up through you? How do you feel? If you're just with it, sometimes you can even talk to it. I'm just here with you. Shame, guilt, you can be here. Desire for the future, you're allowed to be here. Yeah. It's like we're just going to bring it right back into the center. Be with it, allow it, be of support to it in whatever way you can, and then go about your day. You've already set your intention. The bigger part of you knows what you're desiring, and it also knows what's getting in the way, right? So let's just come back to it over and over again and be with it. Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Okay, so this question is, this person is having trouble with their ears, but it says, I feel this is linked to me also being able to receive spiritual guidance. Can you give clarity on what could be going on?
Is it like a ringing kind of sense? I'm getting two different answers to your question. Is it like a ringing sensation? Is it a sound? Is it a blockage in the ears where you're not hearing very well?
Yeah, it's ear infections and perforated.
Perforated eardrum? Yeah, okay. So the way you're showing it to me anyway, is that I have a feeling that your hearing, that sensory experience is being recalibrated. And because of some earlier imprinting, um, a lot of times that shift or that change comes about with pressure and pain, pressure and discomfort. And so, again, if we understand that, there's some patterning there, that every time you kind of get, let's say, expanded in your capacity to hear, or when new information is wanting to come in, like you say, sometimes that information, it's almost like it's been patterned to come in with discomfort. Um, and that goes back to early on in your own life as well. It's like when new things were coming in or trying to come in, of whether it was hearing new things or just new experiences, there was always kind of like this push pull between it having to be uncomfortable in order to feel okay receiving the information or receiving the gift or whatever that was. So it's just an old pattern. And now that we know that, as it starts showing up, again, we'll come right back to the moment and just acknowledge that this is just an old pattern. Um, and I would literally say to yourself, it's an old pattern. I can hear with ease now. I can receive with ease. Yeah, it's no longer necessary. Thank you for the information. I got it. Yeah, and but it's not, the information is there for you. Always has been, honestly. It's just about the way you go about receiving information. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this one is, would you please edit my process to relieve physical pain? My skull hurts. Usually it's just the lower back, right? But Saturday, the top of my skull and other areas also hurt a lot. I breathe into the space in between and then breathe out light and love to the pain to burn off the conditioning. I tried to pull out any conditioning into the sphere and then blue star it. I also ask the pain what it needs in meditation. School is still hurting. Any insight?
Okay, so we're talking skull. Is that what we're talking? Okay. So, yeah. Um, you know, when transformation gets right down into the physical part of us, like especially when it's down in the bone, it's really just not that comfortable. It's the only way I can say it. So you're purifying your emotions, you're purifying the energetics or the imprint, any imprints that might be associated with it. What it looks like to me is, it looks like both the skull and down the spine are, um, the best way I can say it is, your biology is being altered, and the skull is, for lack of a better term, expanding. So I've had this a few years ago as well, and it's not comfortable. I won't even pretend to say that it's comfortable when your biology is going through that kind of shift. But you literally need more. I mean, you're looking for more space. Um, Not you're looking for more space. More space is needed um, for your new neurological process. More space is needed for that conduit of energy from the skull and the neurological process all the way down into the spine and out through it, right? So these are the kinds of things where there's not something that is emotionally tied to this or that kind of thing. This is literally structural in the sense that you could really benefit from some cranial sacral work or something along that line, just to keep those, all those plates in the skull just opening and moving. And um, but you're literally in this process of embodying into the bone some of the information that you can embody now. So not comfortable, not comfortable, but yeah, um, yeah, it's structural. So like network chiropractor, cranial sacral work, um, some myofascial kind of release up in the tension, up in the neck and the shoulders, um, anything along those lines. Good old fashioned body work. Yeah.
All right, this question is, I want to get started back again in meditation. I am never getting that peaceful time to get started. How do I start?
That's up to you, my dear. It's like can't really come and help you out with that one. It's the nice thing is that if it's something that's really needed, and you'll just continue to get pushed towards it over and over again, right? Um, the other thing too is consider that meditation doesn't have to be, perched on a cushion for, you know, an hour or anything. It can happen in all kinds of different ways. So, sometimes we have a preconceived idea about the way that meditation is supposed to look, and therefore we never embark on it. And you might get just as much out of a silent walk, you know, um, or going and sitting on a rock somewhere, for a few minutes. Yeah, but you'll figure that one out. So,
Okay. Your opening meditation was interesting for me, as this very morning I myself had called to the universe to bring forth and back to me those aspects of myself that I had parked away while I focused on waking up and being the love that I am. Those parts of myself were my voice and my power, and that those would be unified through love, wisdom, and compassion.
yes, see, I don't have any awareness all by myself. I just pull it from the field, and you guys are just telling me what's needed in any given moment. That especially shows up in the bi-monthly energy sessions that we do. So if you're not on those, that's a great place to be. But yeah, thank you for adding that to the mix, because it was definitely something that everybody was on board with. Yeah, so thank you for adding that. Let me, while you're getting more questions written in there, I just want to check on one other thing. So that statement that I just made about pulling this information from the field, um, again, there is this place, space, awareness within each and every one of us where we do know what we need. We do know what is, mm, we do know what's next. And a lot of times, it's wonderful and it's great to get different perspectives and to maybe hear somebody reflect back to you that part of you that that does know. And it's also really wonderful to, when you have a question in your daily life about whatever it is, what happens if we just assume that there's some part of us that knows? And what happens if we just go to that part of ourselves? Yeah, doesn't mean, we can't come here and have these conversations, because I love them and I hope you're enjoying them too. And at the same time, there is this place where, okay, I have this question about whatever it is. And, where within my totality is the response to that request or the answer to that question? And it's a good practice to get into, because it really lets us remember or kind of reconstitute this awareness that we do know. Yeah, that we're not without our own uh, inner answers, our inner capacity to know. Yeah. And so we're just going to ask. It's like, I wonder where the answer to that question is, you know? And sometimes what I notice, if I sit with a question, it's, and I'm in the sphere of my totality, I said, where is, literally, where is the answer to that request? I think maybe because I'm visual, but I typically will see it in a location. Maybe it's behind me, maybe it's out in front of me. Where is it in that sphere? And sometimes I the first go around, I don't get the whole I don't get all of the information, but it's like I know, oh, there it is. I know it's there. And then I can start drawing that energy closer to me. I can start drawing it in and receiving it, sometimes incrementally. Yeah, sometimes it comes all as one. But again, and some of you might just, request, assume that the totality of you knows the answer to that question. And you might hear it, feel it, see it, sense it, know it, like on the spot. Who knows? But it's a good question to start asking ourselves, so we assume that the information is there instead of think that it's not there. Yeah. So cool. All right, Sharon, do you have more?
Let's see. Oh, I got a couple. Just a second.
Okay.
I think you just answered this one. It says, I have been struggling with diet and nutrition. I am wondering if there's a spiritual way to go about this and finding guidance.
So it's coming like this. So on the one hand, we set an intention for nutrition, for diet, for a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy whatever. So we set that intention. And typically we set that intention because we don't feel so healthy. We don't feel like our bodies are, quite where we want them to be, or that kind of thing. So we've got the discomfort, whatever that is. We set the intention. Yeah. And then typically some of our old patterning will come back and it'll kind of pull and tug at that intention. What I've what I've personally noticed is that any times when I made big dietary changes, they were almost always in stops and starts. And they were also almost always because I paid attention to how I felt about my current physical condition, or my current physical well-being, or my current physical condition kind of pushed me into looking at certain things or feeling certain things within myself. So if let's pay less attention to the diet part of things, or that piece, and pay more attention to what is it that actually wants to be met within us. It's like this energy is coming up, it makes us feel a particular way. Yep. And so maybe we feel frustrated with ourselves, or maybe we feel, mine was always that I'd feel like my body was just not up to speed with what I wanted it to do, right? And so I had this running dialogue that, come on, buddy, like it was always like, it's like, you need to feel good, you need to have energy, you need to. It was like constantly like almost beating up on that part of my multidimensionality, because the physical body is part of our multidimensionality. And so this one aspect of it, I was berating all the time. I was making wrong all the time. So it wasn't until I went back and kind of went, oh, wait a minute, eh, if if I'm beating up on this part of myself all the time, why would I suspect that it's going to help me in any way to know what it needs or to make changes or to alter in any way? So I had to go back first to, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize for taking everything out on you and thinking you're the least common denominator kind of thing, recognizing it as part of the whole. And then what I noticed is just kind of more naturally and organically, like as that old belief system got purified out or shifted, then I found myself just making better choices. And the other thing too is like, let's acknowledge when we do make a decent choice for ourselves. We're so conditioned to only pay attention to when we do something wrong, what we perceive as wrong. Oh, I ate that cookie, I'm such a, yeah, it's like, okay, big deal. It's like, but there's all kinds of other things. Wow, I had, 3 glasses of water today and I don't typically get a lot of water in, or, oh, wow, I took that walk today. I mean, let, let's just be kind to ourselves. The body is honestly, it's working overtime, and it also holds so much of our early imprinting. So, and it's not our fault that we were imprinted in the ways that we were imprinted, but it is our responsibility. And it's not our responsibility to quote unquote fix it, it's our responsibility to meet it. Yep. Wow. You're struggling. You're having a hard time. Let's, yeah. So I hope that's helpful.
All right. It says, I have a recent conflict situation which in the past I may have beat myself up about it. I noticed shame didn't arise as strongly, and I felt able to move forward and stay in a place of love and compassion for myself and other. I have had a lot of conflict in my life and wonder if this is something that is changing.
I think you already know the answer to that question. Yeah. It's changing. This is what we just were. And these places of being aware that, wow, it was like this and now it's like that. Those little incremental changes are not so incremental. They gain they gain steam, right? They gain momentum. And so as we're even noticing, wow, I just didn't do that. That's awesome. Yeah. I didn't beat myself up. Again, it's like we're putting that energy and that awareness into the way things are moving forward, um, positively, effortlessly, easily, right? Instead of, yeah, maybe some going back into our old patterns. So, yeah, you already know it's shifting, it's shifting, it's shifting. So, acknowledge it. Yeah. Just like a little kid would want to be acknowledged, right? If they did something really well. So, you want to acknowledge these parts of ourselves that are, yeah, are stepping into the next iteration of us. Cool. All right.
That is it.
That's it? Oh, wow. Okay, cool. We just blazed right through them. All right. So let's see here. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add or? No? Yeah. All right. We'll just give it a couple of seconds here. We'll just do one more round here, Sharon, and got a couple minutes left. So while we're just waiting, let's again, breathing into that heart space, that that energy, that fluctuation, that movement into the heart and out from it. Again, it's just creating a nice, solid base. That in and of itself to the person that was asking about meditation, that can be an amazing meditation right there, and you can do it just about anywhere, everywhere. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like we really are in every way, shape, and form, we're purifying. We're purifying from the inside out. Not because we're quote unquote doing the right things or any of that. It's like this is what this time is about. I mean, uh, our energy fields are shifting, changing, altering. We're becoming aware of things. We're choosing things that we haven't chosen before. We're taking these incremental steps as we kind of clarify, purify, um, evolve, if you like that word, from the inside out. And the more we do that, the more things around us shift and change and alter. And so, in many ways, we can sometimes think that the outside world is happening to us, but it's us doing it, right? It's us. We are, as each one of us is shifting, changing, purifying incrementally. That's actually what is creating all the shifts and changes outside of us. Yeah, everything's on the inside first. There is no, if you want to put it in extremes, maybe there is no out there. Um, my favorite line from an old movie, What the Bleep. Fred Allen Wolf, physicist, said there is no out there, and it so makes me smile because it's true. It's like what's out there is simply a representation or I'm tricky, a reflection, a gift, an awareness of what either needs to be transformed or is being transformed, right? Either what is shifting or can be shifted. So, yeah. All right. More, Sharon, or a couple more, whatever we've got.
Yeah, one more. What can I do energetically to keep from being tired? I meditate, I eat well, I get good sleep, and I have a pure diet. But I am having bouts of struggling to stay awake and dehydration.
Yeah. You're, it, it just is, again, it's like we have a tendency, because we've been so conditioned to be productive, to keep going, to get things done, that when we're asked to sleep for days on end or take naps, or our bodies just can't quite do what's next, um you're it's just part of it. And again, if we don't beat ourselves up for where we are and allow the process to whatever degree we can, it actually helps us transform that much easier. So, and being well hydrated, that's another piece. It can help with the exhaustion, but more importantly, we're primarily water, right? And the information that's inside of our bodies is shifting and changing all the time. So it's almost like as we're hydrating the body over and over, we're keeping that information flowing through the body. Yep. So, and I'm notoriously one who doesn't get enough water in, so I have to put notes around my house. It's like, are you drinking water? Kind of thing, because I just won't do it, or I'll have something else, right? So, it- but we definitely want to stay hydrated to move that information through all the systems of our body, the new information, and also continually be flushing out, literally in our urine, flushing out old information. Um, yeah, and the sleeping part. The other thing I will say, especially when we get to physical embodiment, physical body transformation, there will be a lot a lot of sleeping. It was a few nights ago, um, probably the end of last week, I had in the middle of the night, woke up and there were six um, kids, you know, autistic children in my room, right? But these are all the power hitters in my world anyway. These are the six clients that, whew, I mean, all six of them just blow me away on a regular basis. And they were all sitting there, and I was like, okay, you guys usually come one at a time, and it blows me away. When you're all there, it's like something's up. And so I sent an email to different families, you know, their families, and said, hey, if they have anything that they'd like to add, please just, you know, have them send me an email or, you know. And so I did get some information back from, you know, at least half of them so far. And one of them was, and I had said, I'm just exhausted, you know, I'm just so tired. And he said, your body, he was talking about infinity physics, and he was talking about going into new structures of reality and being able to hold all these different structures of reality simultaneously. And he said, and you need to be out, you need to be asleep in order to process these new frequencies. And he said, so, you know, let yourself do that. He said, you're tired because you're attempting to hold all of these structures in simultaneous time. And I was like, okay, I'll sleep because my mind can't wrap around what that even really means until it plays out. So for those of you who are exhausted, number one, you probably don't even know why you're exhausted. The mind says, I should be productive, but the most productive thing you could do right now in many ways is to allow yourself to integrate whatever is attempting to integrate. Yeah. I mean, that's more productive. If that energy is integrated into your biology, into your neurology, into your psychology, having that anchored here is a greater gift to humanity than anything that you could be doing necessarily through your productivity. Yeah. So let's allow it. It makes a huge, it'll make a huge difference in your lives, and it makes a huge difference in the collective. So yeah, right. Hope that helps. Yeah. Okay, let me see if there's anything else, and then we'll call it a day. Um, so interesting. My heart is it's like really amped up just being with you all tonight, which is really lovely. So again, that heart is attempting to come into alignment with different aspects and realities of our totality. It's also attempting to receive um, new information, new ways of being. Um, and so again, sometimes we just don't know what's trying to process through us. And sometimes we don't get that information as it's happening. We get that information as it's needed or as it's available to us. Yep. So just going back to that simple process of just giving ourselves that in breath and out breath. And we know that, you know, that's just as natural as it comes. And if we keep it simple, then we can be present with just about anything that arises. We don't have to try to work out why it's arising or any of that. It's really not about that. It's about can we simply be with it? Can we breathe through it? Because the moment these old patterns don't hook us, into some story or into some, or the moment that they shift out, shifting sands, shift out. Yeah. So inhale, exhale. That's it. All right. Thank you guys. Whew, yeah, you guys are like revved up on the hearts tonight. It's awesome. So lots of love, and I will see you around the block somewhere. Okay. Bye, everybody.